So, welcome back to the Neil and Hugo show.
Neil and Hugo show.
We were going to talk about Windows 7
Yeah.
and what's new for Windows 7 and tablet PC and touch and what else is new for Windows 7, I guess.
Well, it's pretty exciting. I mean, if depending on when this video airs, it's either happened, about to happen, or happened yesterday, or will happen tomorrow, right? The actual release of Win 7.
Actually, I guess it depends a little bit on where you are in the world
We
as
are in
well.
the world too, yeah, and time zone wise and all that. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Yeah.
For me, Win 7 brings forward a massive leap for tablet PC.
Okay.
And that's exciting for a couple of reasons. Multi-touch, improved tablet input panel, and those two features alone really make the mobile PC story a healthier story.
So the tip is
for
much
input.
better, but what do you think makes the tip better? I mean, I think the tip is kind of smoother, but
Yeah.
what else is, for you, what are the things that make tip is tablet input panel.
Tablet input panel has improvements, and we've seen it happen from XP to Vista, Vista to Win 7. Now, from XP to Vista, we had basically the algorithm got better, so you were able to actually have your notes transcribed better into text. It actually understood you a bit better. What I like about the jump from Vista to Win 7 is basically that two things. One is that as you're writing, they've actually developed a font that sort of makes your handwriting look crisp. So before there was no transition from handwriting to text, whereas now there's this sort of a font that they've included. It's really just a font adjustment that makes your handwriting almost look neat and tidy while you're writing on the go. So that's quite nice because it makes you feel like Win 7 is interacting with you as you travel along.
It's a richer experience.
Richer
for sure.
experience.
Yeah.
The other side of it that's quite better is the ability to edit. So to slice words, to join words, to just to scribble things out.
I've noticed that even in Vista you could scribble things out, but it
Yeah.
seems easier to do it. Like the gesture recognition is way better in
Correct.
7 than it is in Vista.
Well,
So-
in Vista, the scribble could have ended up being like an additional comma or an exclamation mark or an underscore, and so you didn't
or
actually
even some
scribble.
strange word like which I didn't write.
No, I didn't want that. And God only knows I wouldn't repeat it.
A
even
word,
if I
a
had
word
the
with
chance.
lots of vowels that's not pronounceable. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely helped.
Yeah.
And what about other stuff like that?
Yeah, no, definitely got better. It's all of those input methods now going along that sort of methodology. When you talk about characters, for example, in websites, again, it's really got more refined. The tablet input panel used to be basically a floating, hovering panel that you had to input text with into the Internet Explorer tablet bar, for example.
Right.
Now, for example, the address bar integrates into the tablet input panel.
Right.
So it brings that relationship closer. So as you're writing, for example, an F, and Facebook starts popping up straight underneath, or FedEx or whatever else
Right,
you
so
have
it's looking at your
history.
MOU, your most recently
Used,
used list and picking that up. And,
That's right.
And letting you touch those or tap on those actually in the tip. So
Yeah, and so people who have had interaction with XP and are looking at Vista will know the jump. But those that haven't, for example, in XP, you had to click on tablet input panel, it would open. Click on the address bar in Internet Explorer, highlight and backspace across whatever.
And I guess
was
that's
there.
something we kind of forget is a lot of people are going from XP to Windows 7. They're not going from XP to Vista and then Vista to Windows 7, and so that's a huge jump.
Big leap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very big
real
jump.
positive leap. Yeah.
And what about basic things like boot times, hibernate time? Seems a lot better, right? I mean, I can actually hibernate my machine.
Yeah, you can. You can come out of hibernate real quick too. It takes 3, 4, 5, 7 seconds maximum to get out of hibernate. The other smooth thing about
little asterisks written down the bottom, depending on hard drive speed.
and RAM, lots of RAM. Although again, it's not as bad as Vista was. But one of the neat features is battery life for mobile PCs seems to really be improved. So people are now getting at least what the manufacturer claims instead of what the manufacturer claimed in Vista. You basically had to halve. So when manufacturer said 3 hours, you get an hour and a half. But now when manufacturer says 3 hours, you're getting 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Right.
So that's pretty exciting. Now,
and it doesn't take 20 minutes to shut down, so you actually get 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's really neat. It boots up fast, and it also the other thing is that people are finding is it runs really well on old machines. So when you put it on, as we were talking in one of the previous shows, you've got your iTablet that might be 5 years old almost now.
Yeah.
If you whack it on that
Yeah,
which you've done, right? How's that experience for you?
It's brilliant. Yeah, I like it a lot. I mean, and it's a small hard drive. It's like a 40 gig hard drive. It's only got
small processor.
Yes,
1.5 off memory. Or
1.5 processor and 1 gig RAM. And rocks.
Sits happily.
Yeah, it works. I mean, I don't use it for any kind of hardcore. I don't do video editing on it or any development on it. But for note taking and Word documents and email, it's great. And it's a nice little device. Hold it in my hand and walk around and sit on the sofa with it. It's a good device.
So it boots up faster, right? Runs a bit snappier.
Yeah, I haven't sat there with a stopwatch and gone. It's one of those devices that I kind of, if I know I'm going to need it, and I'll just kind of boot it up and then get on with something else, and then grab the device once it's booted. So I haven't really paid a lot of attention.
It's funny how we do that with older devices. You learn to have a cup of coffee while you wait for
right. You learn you kind of learn that these things don't happen instantly, and so you get other things lined up to do. And so that'll take 5 minutes to boot. But it probably is a bit less than that now. Log on's easy. I like that's one thing that we didn't talk about. But on tablet, any tablet that's recognised when you now go to log on to a logon screen.
Yep.
Like a Windows logon screen, and the keyboard that it brings up is a nice big chunky keyboard. It's not like a tiny where's that hit the wrong letter type experience.
On touchscreen is really cool too.
I guess that's part of it, right? Is that Windows 7 now supports a lot more touch features, and so the fact that they had to support touch for keyboard input, which is a lot less accurate than stylus. They've made these much bigger keys, which is nice. It's a lot easier, a lot quicker to get the right input, and a lot harder to make the mistakes. And that's the other thing. I mean, I don't have touch on that iTablet, but I know that there's a range of iTablets that do have touch.
Yeah, well, we've got some running already with Win 7 and touch.
And that's again, because they've thought about some of those things. It's not 100% perfect, but they've definitely thought about some of those inputs. One of the things we're running Windows 7 on touch, actually not on mobile devices at all, on the big touch smart HP devices. And it's good for when you've got the application up, the touch application that you want to engage with. But things like launching are still a problem. I mean, corners are always a problem with touch, and you still have at the bottom of the screen, you still have the little, the little round Windows Start menu. And touching that and selecting programs to start and getting it's still not super accurate.
Well, that's one of the main differences with a tablet PC versus a touch. And you and I always were quite technical around these things, and that's our expertise. So we talked about XY coordinates for touch, basically when you put your finger down, and then XYZ, which was Z was the floating coordinate of a tablet PC, and that's where the touch story is still finding its feet, I think, because once you lift your finger, the cursor stays where you left it. Right?
While you're on a pure touch system, you'll never have hover.
No,
right?
Of course not. No.
And until you move to a more vision-based system, which there are some out there, and of course we do a lot of work with Surface. So Surface is a vision system. You can start to edge towards some kind of hover type technology, although no one is really doing a good job at it yet. But the hardware enables it. Whereas with resistive touch screen, you really don't have any kind of hardware available to determine hover. There's nothing that can see that there's something hovering over it. You only get the message that something has touched the screen. So the UIs need to really change to encompass or embrace that, and Windows as a shell, the Windows UI doesn't do a good job of that.
Yeah, and I mean, bringing it back to hardware focus for me, there's resistive touch and there's capacitive touch, and the two are quite different. The iPhone, for example, runs capacitive touch, and that one you can use with your finger, and it works quite well because capacitive has a higher accuracy. But what happens with capacitive is that you don't actually have the ability to use a stylus, so you couldn't actually hand write on the iPhone, even if you want to. So you just can't do that. It's not something that's going to happen on that phone. So that's why we're still looking at resistive touch screens with these tablets, with the touch tablets and touch panel PC. All right, guys, nice to see you again.
Yeah, thanks.